Something's been quietly bothering you, and the frustrating part, the part that makes it hard to talk about, is that you can't point to a specific reason. Your life is good, your family is okay, your faith is real, you show up every day, you do what needs to be done. You're not someone who complains. And yet, there is this low inner hum, this quiet, persistent feeling that something is just a little bit off. Not dramatically off, not fall apart off, just off. Like something doesn't quite fit the way it used to, and you can't explain it. Because from outside, everything looks fine. And you know it looks fine. And that almost makes it worse because you feel like you shouldn't be feeling this way. Which brings me to the thing I really want to talk about today. Because underneath that hum, that inner if you sit with it honestly, there's usually something else. Something that feels like maybe guilt. You know you have a good life. You know there are people who have far less. And the idea of wanting more meaning, more purpose, wanting something different, something that feels more like you, that feels wrong somehow. It feels ungrateful. So you don't say it out loud. You just tell yourself to be thankful. You count what you have. You remind yourself of everything that's going right. And you wake up the next morning and that feeling is still there. I want to talk about that feeling today specifically because I haven't been sitting across from people who don't know this. I've been sitting across from a lot of people who feel just like you. And I want to tell you what I've come to understand about it because it's not what you think necessarily. That feeling, that low inner angst, that quiet sense that something is off, even though everything looks fine, it's not ingratitude. It's not a sign that you're not thankful for what you have. It's not a problem with your faith. It's not a sign that you're being selfish or that you want too much or you can't be satisfied. It's what happens when you've been pouring yourself out for other people for a very long time. Think about what your life has looked like for the last 20, 30 years. The people who've needed you, the roles that you filled, the things that you've shown up for every day, day after day, year after year, your family, your work, your community, whatever season of life you were in, you gave it what it needed. And you did that faithfully. Now, there's nothing wrong about that. Matter of fact, you did everything right. It can be a wonderful season. But here's what's happening when you live that way for long enough. You become very, very good at knowing what everybody else needs, what your kids need, what your spouse needs, what your job needs, what your community needs. And somewhere along the way, gradually, quietly, without you even noticing, you lost track of what you need, what you want, what would make you feel like you're actually living your own life and not just managing everyone else's. You've been so focused outward for so long that the signal coming from inside got very quiet. And now in the moments when things slow down, in those quiet moments, Sunday afternoon moments, lying awake at night moments, you can hear it again. That quiet voice asking something you haven't let yourself fully answer. Is this it? Or is there still something more for me? That's not ingratitude. That's not you being difficult or dissatisfied or lacking faith. That's you asking to be heard by you. And I want to say something about that from a Christian perspective because I think a lot of people carry a distorted idea of what it means to be content. There's a version of Christian contentment that says the more spiritual you are, the less you want for yourself. That wanting more is kind of a sign of weak faith, that a truly godly person is perfectly satisfied with exactly where they are. And I want to push back on that a little bit. Psalm 37 verse 4 says, "Delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." Now, most people read that as be faithful, and God will give you what you want. But look at what it actually says. He gives you the desires, not just the fulfillment of them. He's the author of the desire. He's the one that put the desires in you, which means the wanting that you've been pushing down, the quiet longing for something more, something aligned with who you actually are now in this chapter of life, that didn't come from nowhere. That didn't arrive because you're ungrateful or hard to satisfy. God placed something in you. He put desires in you that are real and that matter. And the fact that you can still feel them even after all these years of setting yourself aside for everyone else, that's not a problem. That's actually a gift. Now, here's why I can talk about this with some authority. I have a master's degree and a doctorate from seminary, a background in theology and leadership. I learned both of those before I was 30, and I'm grateful for those degrees. They gave me a foundation, a framework, a way of thinking about faith and identifying human transformation. And it has served me and the people I work with for decades. But that's not actually where my understanding of what you're going through comes from. What I understand at a level that goes way beyond what any degree can teach, I learned from losing everything when I was 50 years old. The platform I'd built, the career, the identity I'd spent decades constructing, gone, all of it. And I found myself sitting in the middle of complete silence with nothing left that told me who I was any longer. And I had to answer a question I never thought to ask before. Who am I when everything I built is gone? Not who was I, who am I right now? That question and the honest, terrifying, ultimately life-changing process of answering it became the foundation of everything I do. And what I found in answering it is what I want to help you find. Because here's what I know after 40 years of walking alongside people through the hardest and most important moments of their lives. The feeling you're carrying, the angst, the quiet feeling of being off, that sense something's waiting to be discovered, it's not a problem to get rid of. It's actually a signal. It's your life telling you something very important. It's the beginning of the most significant work you can do right now. And there's a real, concrete, guided path through these feelings, and there are answers that you can find, not from a book or motivational quotes. There's a proven process for discovering who you are in this season and building what comes next around who you are. That's what I've spent years developing, and that's what this YouTube channel is for. Every video I post is for the person sitting in exactly that place of inner unease, the person who knows something needs to change, but hasn't had anyone sit with them and help them figure out what that is or how to do it. I can be that person for you here. Subscribe now to this channel so that you don't miss any of the videos that are coming. This Thursday, I'm going to go somewhere I think that's going to land deep for a lot of you. I want to talk about why you feel lost, even though your life looks completely fine from the outside. That's Thursday. I'll see you then.